Welcome to One More Things, a podcast about art, culture, and ideas. Wherever you are, whenever you are listening, thank you for tuning in. So we've been away for a bit, and we've missed you, so we're back with an episode on Rebecca Manson's exhibition, Barbecue, on view at the Modern in Fort Worth. It is a stunning, maximalist installation that will be up until August 25th. I hope you enjoyed today's show. The Ellipse Gallery inside the Modern Art Museum in Fort Worth is an oval-shaped room in the front of the museum. It's a unique space. It feels like a little secret, tucked away, almost hidden. Its austere, concrete walls, while cold, are also enveloping and protective. The Ellipse is usually home to Anselm Kiefer's Book with Wings, which consists of a massive lead book supported on a steel lectern. From the pages of the open book shoot two immense wings that lift high off the page as if it's about to take flight and escape the building. This sculpture, like so much of Kiefer's work, is ironic. The wings, like the book, are made of lead. The sculpture isn't going anywhere. Kiefer's work with books as freestanding sculptures hint at an investigation into knowledge through images. Other of Kiefer's book sculptures get to his ideas of metaphorically healing a wounded Germany, and others express his distance from his Catholic upbringing, that religion's power of heaven and earth, while also using Kiefer's own bodily fluids to stain the book pages. Barnett Newman had a well-known quote about abstract expressionism: "We are making it out of ourselves." Book with Wings isn't in the Ellipse right now. In its place is a fitting replacement, Rebecca Manson's Barbecue. Manson's work, like the Kiefer sculpture, is in its own way ironic. The installation is made up of 5 interconnected leaf piles, some reaching almost 8 feet high. These piles make deliberate use of the oval gallery to construct a cyclical narrative. A walkable path allows viewers to examine and immerse themselves into the work. The piles look ready to be blown away by the breeze of the museum's air conditioning or jumped in as if the museum patrons were children. But just like Kiefer's book that won't take flight, these leaves are going nowhere. The leaf piles are constructed using over 45,000 individually crafted ceramic leaves and other elements. Manson includes discarded objects from a summer barbecue, cigarette butts, bits of trash, and litter, set in a changing autumnal scene. Manson's visual language comes from the natural world, but it taps into the internal world of experience, bringing up ideas of longing and nostalgia, the past and self-discovery. Barbecue seems to exist in opposing realities. The juxtaposition of the sweeping piles of leaves that seem poised for takeoff against the stillness of the smooth, concrete walls of the gallery. The installation at once made up of recognizable forms that conjure our own surreal narratives, something that Manson calls the visceral commonplace. Barnett Newman had another quote about his work: "I paint with my heart, not with my head." Art is more than just a visual representation. It's a way for artists and viewers to access emotions and experiences we might be forgetting or neglecting. Here's Manson from an interview with amfAR.
I'm interested in looking at nature and how we can learn from nature to sort of approach subjects that can be really difficult. Most of the work I've done with leaves is really about using them in mass to create a larger gesture. Every sculpture starts with a story, and it's usually like the story of a feeling, an emotion, as told through nature.
When we view barbecue, we first look at it from the macro level. We see the piles of leaves, how they climb the walls of the ellipse. From here, it's a fantasy, one wrapped in nostalgia. Walking through the path laid out between the piles, I think of growing up in the Midwest. I think of fall cookouts, neighborhood hog roasts, bonfires, smoking cigarettes and wearing hoodies. I think of picking apples and watching the leaves change from green to red and orange and brown. I can hear the crunch of them underfoot. But make your way through the installation, bend down, and look closer, because barbecue begs too for a micro-level viewing. I start to see and want to pick out the detritus in the piles, playing cards, cigarette butts, broken spatulas. There's cooked and uncooked chicken, matches, a grill, a busted lawn chair, cracked pallets. We've moved from nostalgic fantasy to its aftermath. It's a denouement of sorts, and it speaks to Manson's interest in degradation, deterioration, changing cycles, and uncertainty. There's tension there, just beneath the surface, making it slow, steady creep so that we realize the danger. Think about this. Looking at the scene in Barbecue, what's left behind among strewn paper plates and dried leaves are still warm embers. Better yet, think about what would happen if just a spark from a match or a cigarette hit those piles of fuel, burning everything to the ground so it can begin anew. Think about the ellipse gallery engulfed in flames, and you get a sense of a convergence of a seemingly incongruous elements that build to a beautiful chaos. A chaos that shows us the beauty in the mundane, or what we think is mundane, and hints at the tenuousness in our everyday lives.
I think it's just the desire to feel a sense of freedom and like playfulness around things that are hard but inevitable. It feels good to bring something that feels good into something that feels bad.
One more thing about Barbecue. It exists in a state of hyper-interdependency, and in this way too mirrors our daily lives. Each pile of leaves is made up of how many individual handmade leaf sculptures, each one leaning on the other, connected sometimes through happenstance and accidental occasions, but connected nonetheless. A leaf pile is a precarious thing. Remove part of it and it will crumble. Without a support system of other leaves, it will blow away, scattered and disconnected.
I work mostly through a combination of observation and fantasy to create sort of emotional portraits of nature. I'm just diving as deep into that as I can and think about just this very simple thing of looking and what it means to really look and to see something. Memory is part of my work too, and I think that's where the fantasy in the sculptures comes from. It's observing and then remembering. And when you remember things, it's kind of like you're actually working more from a dream.
If you enjoyed today's show, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back soon and on a more regular basis. But until then, thank you for listening and take care of yourselves.